Los Angeles, California. With 13 million people and over 1,000 emergencies a day, it's often referred to as the local news capital of the world. Video journalists have captured an unbelievable catalog of events.
To see what our members had to endure is very difficult.
This is almost like a movie. It's hard to believe that this was real life.
With our first on-scene heroes' perspectives, this is an insight into their most thrilling moments. In this episode, a horrific car accident leaves Good Samaritans with a life-changing choice.
Then I realized that there was a victim inside.
Where do camels go when they eventually get thirsty?
Nothing surprises me anymore, but this camel.
And a man who's been hit by a truck swings back into action.
To see a man that you thought was dead stand up and run around is a pretty big shocker.
While Los Angeles is typically known for its sunny weather, sudden downpours are a reminder that Mother Nature can always keep us on our toes. One minute it's all sunshine and palm trees, and the next, the streets are turned into rivers.
In the United States, we have about 6,000 to 9,000 water-related deaths every year. Los Angeles is unique in that we love and we need rain, but we don't handle it so well.
We're getting some pretty severe storms in Southern California. I mean, it's well known for being a lot of sunshine, but we've seen a lot of rain in the last few years.
It is notorious for flash floods to occur in Southern California, and the washes fill up rapidly.
Normally, it's fairly benign. It's a dry, concrete riverbed. But when the rains come, it is a whole different ballgame.
It's midday in Los Angeles, and one man is in need of a movie-esque heroic rescue as floodwaters leave him holding on for dear life under a bridge.
Many people are surprised to learn it takes just 6 inches of water to sweep you off your feet. And here, you're dealing with a couple feet of water.
I mean, what can you do when the water's coming past you 15, 20 miles an hour, just sucking everything out the way? You're doing your best just to hang on for dear life.
Swiftwater rescue teams are an elite, specialized team of qualified firefighters that have gone through extensive training that will then be enacted and put into use when we have some significant rains. When a Swiftwater rescue incident goes out, we are going to deploy firefighters downstream, upstream, and at the point last seen, as well as actively bring in our helicopters in case they need to be used.
In a daring and adrenaline-fueled move, the Swift Water Rescue Team lowers a paramedic into the treacherous and raging floodwaters.
You can see them lowering a paramedic down into the water. I mean, it's flowing fast.
It's a little nerve-wracking because you never know what's going to happen.
And then he disappears for a second. You're like, did he fall off? Has he been swept away? I mean, he just disappeared. All of a sudden, you see the victim and the firefighter being pulled out of the water, hanging on for dear life.
These water rescues are incredible. These guys and their training, it's unbelievable. Anyone who puts their lives at risk to save another life is a superhero in my eyes.
This was a clean operation, and in the eyes of the incident commander, the safest way to go about it.
A great result for the first responder team, proving that real-life heroes are just as impressive as those in the movies. The beating heart of Los Angeles never stops. In this sprawling metropolis, convenience stores provide vital services around the clock. But they also serve as hunting grounds for the most dangerous criminals. It's 1 a.m. and first responders have been called to a gas station with reports of an employee down. There's no hitting the snooze button on this one.
Officers show up and there's a subject down behind the cash register. The doors are locked and he's completely unresponsive.
So these gas stations, they're a 24-hour gas station, so you should be able to walk in and out those doors at any time.
We don't know if this is a medical issue or if he's been shot and robbed.
What the heck is going on? Is he okay? Is he, passed out? Is he on drugs?
So when the police couldn't access the building to check on the man, they called in the fire department as a backup.
You guys been in for an hour and he hasn't answered, so.
And I always come here, so it's like, that's not normal.
An hour seems like a really long time, but I know that there are protocols that they have to follow. Probably didn't have signs of blood on him or, looked like he was severely injured.
After an hour of trying to get inside the locked gas station, police decide to break the window to access the victim.
And then all of a sudden, a man sits up and says, "What's going on?"
He was sleeping.
And he said, "Sorry, I'm tired. I was having a nap." He didn't hear them.
Pops up. I'm awake.
They've been here for an hour. Yeah.
He just fell asleep at work. We all get tired.
You're ascending,
Yeah, because I woke up.
Sleep behind the cash registers, customers turned away, now a broken door. This is definitely gonna be an interesting conversation with this guy's boss.
Looks like the only emergency was a serious case of sleepiness. All's well that ends well. And hopefully, this gas station worker can catch up on some much-needed Z's. Coming up later, the heart-pounding moment where Good Samaritans are left to make a huge call.
Then I realized that there was a victim inside.
But first, an unexpected visitor is about to make an unforgettable appearance at the local drive-thru. Las Vegas, where neon lights illuminate the skyline, casinos dazzle, and the nightlife never stops. In a city like Las Vegas, where the unexpected is often the norm, it takes a lot to turn heads. But a Camel in a drive-thru? Now that's something else entirely.
Well, you don't see that every day.
Who knew that the dining options in Sin City extended to our furry, humped-backed friends?
It happened in Las Vegas, and it was on every TV station across America.
Look, nothing surprises me anymore, but this Camel.
How often would you see a camel going through the drive-thru of In-N-Out Burger?
Thank you so much. Thank you. She loves French fries. She's waiting patiently.
So, I'm shocked to learn, but apparently this Camel's favorite food is French fries.
So once a week, he takes him through the drive-thru of In-N-Out Burger to get his fries for him.
Who doesn't like French fries?
She loves the French fries.
It was a great story. People are laughing, people are going up, trying to take pictures of the camel. What a great Saturday night in Las Vegas. Where else would you see that?
Vegas is a strange place.
Looks like that Camel was really thirsty for adventure. As the Camel finishes his snack, tragedy strikes in the hills of Topanga West, a scenic neighborhood nestled in the west of Los Angeles. It's 10 p.m., and video journalist Howard is on the road.
Usually I respond to calls. This one, I had no idea about. I didn't hear the dispatch, no fire department on the way. I rolled up on it. I really was first on scene on this one. I roll up, see debris in the road, pulling up, see a white car upside down, and there's someone standing outside it. I thought the person standing up was the person who was inside the car. And then I realized that there was a victim inside.
It's always a scary situation when a vehicle's overturned.
It's pretty haunting. I mean, there was only a few of us around. It's the middle of the night. It's in a more rural area of LA.
It must have happened right in front of me. I just saw a big cloud of dust.
Yeah, I was getting on the freeway behind you guys kind of, and you guys were ready to stop. So I saw all the dust.
I went inside the vehicle and tested for pulse. He had a pulse and he was breathing, shallow breathing, but he was breathing. And trapped.
He's stuck inside the car and it's flipped over.
I'm in a car that's upside down. I can smell gas. There's someone trapped inside. No fire department there yet.
As time ticks away, Howard and the two Good Samaritans are faced with a gut-wrenching decision. Do they risk it all or wait helplessly for the fire department to arrive?
Some of the greatest stories that I've covered are, Good Samaritans who are running toward a burning car to just try and save that person.
Certainly you could tell that the Good Samaritans that were there were trying to talk to the victim.
It felt like forever for the fire department to show up. In the meantime, a couple of other guys showed up, got inside the vehicle.
Is he trapped? Sir? Can you hear me? He is gasping for air.
They were trying to figure out if they should move him, if they shouldn't move him. They were trying to relay the patient's condition, saying he was barely breathing.
I might be able to pull him out. I just need to know unless I should move him.
I would say that typically it's better, to not try to move or manipulate anybody. What we don't want to do is make any sort of injury worse.
If the subject is breathing and is in no more immediate danger, it's better to let the fire professionals extract that person from the vehicle, because you don't want to do any more damage than is already done.
The firefighters arrive on scene and begin to extract the victim on a mission to bring them to safety.
This was an extrication. Cutters, spreaders, rams, how to disentangle the person, and then ultimately the actual extrication, and then treatment and transport.
It's scary. I've been in that situation a few times, and every single time it's kept me awake at night.
Coming up, the situation becomes more dire by the second. Can firefighters beat the odds and save the victim's life? It's 10 p.m. in Topanga, and video journalist Howard has stumbled upon a horrific accident.
I roll up, see debris in the road, pulling up, see a white car upside down. There was a victim inside.
As the Good Samaritans stand by, they have two options: act and risk further danger, or wait for the fire department to arrive.
The individual appeared to be trapped. Bystanders were trying to remove him from the vehicle, but were unable to.
The fire department arrives on scene, and the rescue mission can begin.
The paramedics conducted a thorough patient assessment.
And all of a sudden, the fire department pulled out the white sheet. I literally just watched someone take their last breaths, and he died.
Anytime we cover a fatal accident, it's horribly tragic, and I absolutely hate going to these types of scenes. It's beyond sad.
These incidents do take a toll. PTSD is real.
We get to see some amazing rescues, some amazing heroism, but also tragedy. We see a lot of death and destruction, things being destroyed, people dying, and it does add up. You're never gonna get used to that feeling. I mean, people die all the time. It's unfortunate but true. And the things we see and the things that we witness as a father makes me extremely appreciative of what I have. I make it my number one point is to get home in the evening.
It's 10 p.m., and law enforcement have been called to the scene of a reckless driver.
This guy behind the wheel of this car was clearly upset with someone. He's just ramming car after car after car.
Why is he going so slow? Usually pursuits are really fast. I film a lot of pursuits, but I never get the ones that drive slow enough to see them through the window. They're always speeding at like 100+ miles an hour.
No matter what law enforcement did, he didn't want to stop.
The vehicle had already had damage from several hit and runs that it was involved in. Eventually, the vehicle comes to a stop.
As the slow-moving pursuit finally comes to an end, the tension only intensifies. A dangerous standoff ensues, and law enforcement must carefully consider their next move.
Pepper balls are a non-lethal solution to get suspects out of a vehicle.
This is absolutely an effective way to get a suspect to surrender real quick. It burns your throat, and the gases it gets into your eyes 100 times worse than cutting an onion.
It can cause temporary blindness, so it makes it really hard to see. It makes you cough and gag and choke. I think it's meant to hinder so that officers can get in and, take custody of that suspect.
These type of situations typically bring on a lot of onlookers. I would strongly urge that you be cautious if you happen to find yourself in that situation. It's very possible that you're going to be affected by the pepper spray.
Yes, I've been downwind of the pepper balls, and once it hits your throat, very hard to breathe, burns, you start gagging, spitting.
And just the feeling in your throat and your eyes, you can't breathe. You're wiping your eyes, you need water constantly.
In this case, he was drinking a lot of water.
He's drinking water, he's spitting it out everywhere because it really takes its toll on you.
Amidst the chaos and confusion, law enforcement's relentless use of pepper balls and rubber bullets finally incapacitates the suspect. With great effort and nearly a minute of wrestling, the resisting suspect is finally apprehended.
The charges that someone would face in an instance like this would be felony evasion, felony hit and run, felony vandalism, reckless endangerment.
As many vehicles as this guy damaged, thank God there was no injuries reported.
Coming up.
Well, this guy took a tour bus on a police chase and a standoff.
Then later,
the call came out as a big rig versus pedestrian. Now, to me, that usually says it's a fatal crash.
Hollywood, the home of the film industry and home to countless stars, is known for its glitz and glamour.
I mean, you come to Hollywood, you come to Los Angeles, it's take a tour, right? You go on a tour bus and see the sights, you see the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Well, this guy took a tour bus on a police chase and a standoff.
It's 2:30 p.m. and the cops are hot on the tail of a suspect.
We see a lot of carjackings here in Los Angeles, but this isn't just any carjacking. This is an actual Hollywood tour bus.
There could be various reasons. Could be under the influence, he could be mentally ill, or he just wanted to take a joyride.
The chase heats up and the suspect collides with a Porsche, leaving it stripped down and battered on the side of the road.
They were chasing him and he just hit me. I was parked in the middle of the road. The guy just came out of nowhere and just swiped my car.
We've seen time and time again that these suspects, for whatever reason, they like to strip down and get naked.
Yeah, so this guy steals a tour van, hits another car, takes his pants off, throws his pants out the window, gets out, puts them back on,
I don't know why he would take his clothes off and then put it back on. Maybe he got cold.
Takes his shirt off and then gets arrested. I mean, as crazy as this pursuit was, luckily nobody was injured.
The suspect was taken into custody without incident.
Looks like we finally have another one off the streets. And this time, not just their car, but their pants too.
It's another normal day in Hollywood.
In the early hours of the morning, the gritty streets of South Los Angeles are deserted. It's 1:39 a.m. and the darkness is thick, shrouding everything in an eerie silence. A wild scene erupts.
So every night we hear of calls coming out of vehicle versus pedestrians. I always go and check them out because you never know what could have happened. The call came out as a big rig versus pedestrian. Now, if I heard that call with a pedestrian laying on the ground, not conscious, not breathing, to me that usually says it's a fatal crash.
It's not very often that you see somebody that was hit by a semi-truck actually survive it.
You'd think this would be fairly simple. Somebody got hit by a huge truck. They'd be happy to see somebody come in and render them help. But in this instance, it was quite different.
As the fire department arrives, the man heavily bleeding and presumed dead unexpectedly springs to his feet and begins throwing wild punches.
To see a man that you thought was dead stand up and run around is a pretty big shocker.
Before you knew it, he's trying to carjack another guy.
A lot of times, when people are injured, especially with head injuries, they're in shock, and they can't tell friend or foe.
Proactively, some people put some chalk blocks under the front tires to safely mitigate that situation.
The individual that was struck by the truck appears to be suicidal, maybe? Begins yelling he wants to die and to kill me. Perhaps he's under the influence of PCP or some other amphetamine that keeps him going and not feeling the pain.
They obviously wanted to get him medical treatment, but they had to kind of fight him off a little bit.
We're going to back off. We're going to let law enforcement come in, subdue the individual.
Suddenly, the man erratically gets out of the vehicle and starts trying to fight one of the patrol officers.
This is an absolutely effective, non-lethal weapon to help control a combative situation.
Well, if it were not for first responders there, that individual seemed very keen to carjack that vehicle and drive who knows where and cause what additional damage to himself and others. So fortunately, it didn't turn out that way.
The man was arrested and taken into custody and transported to hospital with severe head injuries.
Thankfully, despite the chaotic scene, the situation did not result in any further harm.